the name, yeah, it sounds like the mysterious technique of a cat. Actually, it's kind of, it sounds really, how to say, mysterious. But I have to say thank you actually for the name to Hayata-san because he gave me this idea. I didn't know about this story, to be honest. And as I can understand, this story is very classical. And it's very classical, but you know what? It's really interesting. As I can understand the idea, the author of this story, some sources, they say that he was samurai. But some sources, they say that he was a samurai, but he was in that sense more in a theoretical way. So his writings was really good than his practice. So I don't know what is true or not, but anyway, I believe most of you, yeah, this story about cat. And you have read, yeah, this story about cat. But anyway, I will kind of share my screen and actually share the screen. And I will tell a little bit about this story, but it's better, of course, if you read yourself. And if you can read Japanese, it's really good if you do it in Japanese language, because, you know, I saw two translations. Once I was reading in Russian language, and then I found in English language. Actually, Hayata-san gave me the link on English language to the story. And actually, you know, the translation means a lot. You know, in English translation, it sounds better than in Russian. Sorry, English is my not native. I haven't been talking for a while, so that is why I do apologize for some pronunciation not in a proper way. Okay, you can see, yeah, now the screen. You can see the full screen, yeah, because I can see that.
Yes, the
Oh, yes,
screen is
now,
okay.
yes, now, yes,
Yeah.
I can see all of you. Okay, so the mysterious technique of the cat, what Aikido can teach us. As I mentioned, the name is really kind of intriguing. Yeah, it's like a marketing step. But anyway, here in this story, there are some idea about technique, and it's true, it's kind of about some mystery, yeah, of a technique. But I will tell a little bit about myself, if even you know, yeah, I mean, it's not me on the PowerPoint. Sorry, artificial intelligence actually helped me to create this presentation. But anyway, you know me as an Aikido practitioner, and not all of you know me as kind of psychologist. Yeah, Aida-san, probably you know, and Gulzat knows, because we work at the same university. I also associate professor of psychology department of two actually universities here in Kyrgyz Republic. One of them is Aloto International University, another is Kyrgyz Russian Slavic University. And I also do practice, I do psychotherapy more than 20 years, and my experience was clinical for 15 years. I was doing treatment, not a treatment, sorry, I did psychotherapy of people who suffered from chemical addiction, and my scientific kind of work was actually about non-chemical addiction. I was doing a lot of research on computer games and on virtual reality. And if you want, you can read some publications, but they're a little bit boring. But lately, for the last probably 10, maybe more than 10 years, we do some events where we are trying to show the idea of Aikido. Sorry, I don't do any other martial arts. I only tried, but not professional, just a couple of different styles, like some Chinese styles and, of course, some Japanese styles. But I do only Aikido. So that is why I mean, I can't tell about every martial art, but to be honest, the idea of any martial arts is universal. And I was lecturing about this in my previous lectures also, because it's like unifying component in all martial arts. So this philosophy, this spiritual part. Because there is a psychological part, yeah, there is kind of physical part. Physical, it's like a body, yeah, physiology, anatomy. These things are really important when you do any practice. And you can do sport, and sport also has some kind of philosophy. So you can't tell, for example, professional sport person that you don't have philosophy. My old brother, for example, older brother, he's very offensive, and I'm telling powerlifting, what is it? It doesn't have philosophy. No, you don't understand. When you're raising your weight, it's a huge philosophy. I'm like raising some purpose and goal and etc. But actually, he practiced Japanese martial arts before when he was young. But what I'm trying to tell about, yeah, that martial arts, they have this spiritual part. And it's really usually, how to say, we can see this spiritual part when we see some advertising, when people are talking about martial arts. So it's like on the first spot, usually people say that martial arts, it's about spirit. Yeah, you want to kind of be stronger, you should practice martial arts. And if you probably remember, Morihei Ueshiba, one of his principles, yeah, he was telling about, sorry if I don't, if I don't pronounce it correctly, like Masakatsu Agatsu. Yeah, this is one of the principles that you have to like win. It's like in a metaphorical way, yourself. So true victory is victory upon yourself. Yeah, and here actually was just couple of names of the lectures I was given about. My last one I did, that was about etiquette, I believe. Yeah, that was in English. So all these lectures you see, they're in English. So if you want me to share with you, I can share. And I also have a lot of lectures in Russian. Okay, sorry for long introduction. Now, the story of the cats and the rat. As I mentioned, Isai, he was Isai Chozan, he was a samurai, and this story belongs to 18th century. And he was really, how to say, professional in some Eastern knowledge, as we can say about this knowledge. It's like philosophical, yeah, direction that we call Taoism, Buddhism, Zen Buddhism. Yeah, it's both. From one side, it's a religion. Some people consider this like religion, but from another side, it's also philosophy. Yeah, some direction of philosophy. And he was really professional in that sense, as some sources say. And you probably read, yeah, this story. So I will try to tell it in a very short way. Yeah. So there was a problem with one master in a village. He had a huge rat. He was a samurai, and he was not able to catch this rat himself. So that is why he asked for some help with very famous cats in this village. And these cats, three of them, they were trying to catch this rat, but all of them, they were unsuccessful. And then old cat appeared, and mystery and magic happened. So when he appeared in this house of Shokin, it was like literally magic. The rat didn't move. The rat didn't do any activity, didn't resist, didn't fight, and it's like a fight without anything. So he just came, took this rat, and went out from this house. And of course, for everyone, it was really kind of weird. So how, for example, Black Cat, he was really good in his strengths, but he was not able to catch the rat. The Tabby Cat, he was really kind of able to understand the meaning of this idea that you call in Japanese language like ki. In Chinese, I know that there is a concept of chi. In psychology, sometimes we kind of say about psychic energy. So ki, chi, it's an energy, yeah? Not only a psychic, actually, but it's an energy that universe also had this energy. And Toby Cat, he had this understanding of ki, but it didn't help him. And for example, Gray Cat, he was telling that, okay, I can know many things and I can control the situation. I can try to control my strengths. I don't pay attention a lot on ki. I just try and to be in the process. But anyway, when each of these cats, they were trying to explain what they did, the old cat, he was kind of showing the kind of correct way. Correct is metaphorical thing, yeah. So, okay, if this last cat, black one, yeah, sorry, gray one, that was telling about I don't have kind of a lot of friends. I just have the idea to be in a moment and etc. The old cat replied him, anyway, you have intention. Yes, and if you have intention to be in a moment, if you have intention to control your strengths, if you have intention to kind of pay attention on your ki, it's an intention and it won't help. So sorry, it's a very kind of short way. If you want, you can really read it. It's a really beautiful story. I'm sorry, I can't speak so beautiful as the author of this story was telling. But the idea that when it's like, it's not even a battle, yeah, because this old cat, he won without battle. He just entered into the room. Yeah, but the idea was when he was in the room, and he did it without any strength or controlling or intention or understanding ki and etc. He just did it with all his presence, yeah. And all these cats that were trying to do it before him, they were wondering how he did it. And that is why they were trying to explain what they did. And they were asking him why it didn't kind of help them. Because the first cat, as I mentioned before, he was training a lot, and he was telling that my family is really kind of good in catching rats, so it's like a legacy, and I have a lot of understanding about catching rats, but I can't do it anyway. And old cat replied him, okay, you just do it only with your physical skills, your technique, and with your strengths. It may not be helpful because rat is also kind of a being that when this being is kind of catching in some situation where it can be killed, where it can be the end of her life, she will do, yeah, or he will do, I don't know, the gender of the rat, sorry. So this rat can do everything to protect herself. So of course, this rat can be also really strong. And that is why he told, no, only physical skills and acrobatics may not help yet to defeat the rat. So it's only about a technique. So the next cat that was in the room, it's like, you know, it's like a metaphorical way, to be honest, of how we understand the technique, how we understand the martial arts, how we understand Aikido or any other martial arts. So first, what we do, we learn technique. And if we only do technique and if we kind of trying to increase our muscles, of course, we train our body. It's not enough to be kind of a true master. Yeah, it's enough, for example, to be a good anyway practitioner and etc. But that's not enough. And next level, it's like about understanding more deeper mechanism. That was about second, yeah, cat. Toby one that was telling that, yeah, ki, I'm trying to understand, yeah, this ki, I'm trying to kind of overpower the opponent, connect to his ki, and kind of do win with this connecting. Actually, the word Aikido consists, of this word ki. But the old cat, as I mentioned before already, he told, no, it's not enough, because this rat kind of in the track, so he can die soon. So, and this rat also has ki. So why don't you think that it can use it also? So, and it didn't help in the story. And the next level, it's like it's a deeper level, when we go beyond technique and ki, and we understand the strategy, but it's also not enough, as you remember. I just told about this, that he told to this third cat, anyway, you have intention, and this intention is also kind of not a true mystery technique. And old cat, actually, in the story, he told to these cats in the village that I'm also not kind of, really true mastery cat, because there is one cat in our village. And if you have heard about this old cat, when this cat just lying somewhere, you can see no rats even near with him. So, and he doesn't do anything, he just presents and lying. And this old cat says that, sorry, I'm not like that cat. I also didn't achieve this certain level. And he told that we need to practice any art. It doesn't matter what you do, kind of learning music, doing basketball, box, or you catch the rats, or you're doing Aikido. There are some principles, and true mastery, it comes from these principles, not from technique. Principles, they goes beyond the technique. So technique is a secondary thing. Principles, it's like we have to be always in a state where there is no mind. We have to be kind of, no mind, it's metaphorical. It's Japanese also term, as I can understand. I'm not sure this is kind of word you use in everyday life, but this is more like a term. Maybe I'm mistaken, more. It's mushin. It's a state of a mind where you have to be fully aware of what is happening, especially when we can do some technique together. So my full attention is here and now. Also, we have to be free from our self, or sometimes we call this like ego, because if I have intention to win, if I have intention to show that I'm really cool, if I have intention to show that I'm really strong, this is like anyway not true mastery, because you want to show, but not, you kind of don't do. It's like in a spiritual way. So you want to prove something, and it doesn't work, as we know from the story. Also, we have to be spontaneous, and we don't have to have this purpose. So just do without any purpose. I remember that Takagi Sensei once told me the translation of the word do, that you were telling, it's like this is the way without ending. And this is really kind of good and cool, meaning and understanding, because if we doing something when even we kind of do some technique anyway, we always think that we have to finish it. It's like a purpose. I have to do this technique. But martial arts and Aikido, the philosophy, the principle is like to be on this way that doesn't have the end or purpose, just be on the way. It's really difficult sometimes, especially for people who were raised in Western part of the world, because Western part of the world, you probably know, this division, that Western part of the world is more about mind and knowledge. It's not about being the process. But now, of course, it's more universal, because we have the effect of globalization. But anyway, there is some special features. I will be telling about these things, because Aikido has some cultural, of course, side. Okay, and this is kind of the story, that was, I mean, the why I took this name. Did you get, yeah, this story? Sorry for my interpretation, but anyway, it's better you read it yourself, yeah. So true victory kind of become from not from force or technique, yeah. It become, it's even, I don't know if I may say, it become or not. So true victory is like victory without any purpose, just victory. Very metaphorical, sorry. But just read it yourself. Okay. So, and actually, my idea was not only to talk about this lecture, this story. Sorry, in this story, we have really good model of teaching, also of teaching any art you do. Again, I'm telling about Aikido, but anyway, the principles are universal. If we teach music, if not teach, if we learn music, sorry, if I learn how to play the guitar, I do the same things. So first technique, and then only I can do it really like improvising, and maybe even I can compose yeah, something if I can achieve next level. But coming back to Aikido, yeah. So what we do when we start to learn Aikido, it's very psychological mechanism. As I mentioned, I'm also a psychologist. That is why I will tell you one theory that I really kind of love. Also, I really love this scientist, and it explains how we do this psychological process that we call imitation, yeah, or actually identification. This process this word, sorry, we use in psychology. So when we start doing Aikido, we are trying to imitate what our teachers do. Yeah, I think all of you kind of and the beginning of your way, and even some of us we don't practice Aikido, but you kind of were learning something. So we are trying to imitate something. So it's like external, yeah, image we have, and we're trying to copy, and it's okay. Yeah, but you know that it's only first stage, but the deeper layer is deeper. So it's like it's not only imitation, but we can't do the same way as our teachers do. Of course, we can't. Yeah, because we have to first imitate. Yeah, something, and this is kind of theory I wanted to tell you about. I will try to put it in a very simple way. If kind of you have some questions here, please tell me, because I understand the theory, and for me, it kind of seems very easy. But if you're not psychologist and how to say, and you never heard about this French psychoanalyst, it can be really difficult. So the other of this theory is Jacques Lacan. He's very famous French psychoanalyst. He was really, by the way, fond of Zen Buddhism. He was visiting Japan. So he, in that sense, in his books, there are some, you know, sometimes I see some style of Japanese culture, the way he writes the text. Actually, he's not writing. He was the most of his life he was lecturing. So it's not about writings. But anyway, if you want, you can read some of his books. But the theory, what actually he really good describe in terms of psychology. For example, when we are small, and when we are born into this world, we don't have an image of our body. And there is an adult person who is near with us. And this adult person, it's like a reflection in the mirror, yeah? He explained us, okay, you see this mirror and this image in this mirror. So this is you. And this adult person, he explains us that this is me. My name is like that, so I can do like that. And so this is like a process of identification. So did you get, sorry, I'm trying to make it very short in the short way because theory is more complicated than I'm telling you. but it's a metaphorical way. Yeah, it's like a mirror stage. Why we call it a mirror? Because we kind of combine our image through the mirrors, but it's metaphorical. So it's not a direct mirror when I kind of see literally in the mirror and I see my reflection. It's like when I'm looking to the world, to the other peoples. So I'm kind of reflecting in these peoples, sorry. And these people, they kind of help me to make myself, to make my image in a metaphorical way, like a mirror. Yes, did you get this idea? Maybe it's too complicated. If you have some questions, just ask. Maybe I can explain a little bit in a different way. So the idea of Jacques Lacan, when we are small, we kind of go through this process of identification with other people, and they help us to create that image of ourselves. Yeah, and later we can do it in a little bit different way. But when we are talking about Aikido, actually, it's not literally and direct like we are infant, yeah? But anyway, in a metaphorical way, we like infants who come to dojo, and that is why what we have to do, we have to kind of see the movement, and when we have to see the image of ourselves in our teacher. That is why actually in all martial arts, the figure of sensei, the figure of a teacher is really important. It's really important. It can't be, I mean, it can be anyone, of course, but if it's a true master, is some, I don't know, inner understanding of principles, not only of a technique, of course, he teaches us or she teaches us this way of understanding. But first, what we do, we kind of imitating, we are repeating, yeah, the movement. And we are trying to put this movement to ourselves. But here, actually, the conflict starts. If you're already adult, if you started to do anything when you are not a teenager or when you are not old, you already have this image of yourself. Yeah, in that sense, you already have some understanding of yourself, or you have some principles, and your movement, I mean, your physiology, you didn't do this movement before. So when we are older, we become more rigid. This is kind of psychological thing, physiological thing. It's anatomy. We can't be flexible always. But when we are infant, of course, we are kind of flexible. And if people are old, it's literally, how to say, it's more difficult to teach them because they're not so flexible. And we should explain these people. So you can't just copy my movement because, for example, I can be younger, I can be more flexible. Yeah, my weight can be different, my height can be different. So you can't repeat what I can do. But the main idea, what teachers, to my opinion, should do, they should explain the students that they have their own possibilities and they have their own limitations. And you can just copy at the beginning, but you have to understand your own limitations and your own possibilities. Because if you don't, I mean, it will be very funny and ridiculous when someone is trying to copy my movement, for example, and you can see it's not really natural. Yeah, but what really kind of good also when you, for example, see someone is playing music, yeah, or I don't know, doing Aikido. If this person do it in a natural way, so it's not like he's trying to repeat the style. We kind of see it's also in a natural way. So it's like honest, yeah. But sometimes people they just try to repeat, but they can't bring their own technique, I don't know, their own limitations or possibilities, their own, I don't know, individuality, because everyone is unique and individual, yeah, in that sense. So it's really important because it's psychological mechanism. And of course, when we start doing anything, it's like more unconsciously we are repeating. And it's like, when you're right. Yeah, you're right. And when you're at school, everyone learn the same kind of alphabet. Sorry, it's in Russian alphabet. In Japanese, I don't know this proper name for vocabulary. So you have like hiragana. Yes. So it's like alphabet. Yeah, I can say like that. But you write in your own way. So it's not like, you were shown. And imitation is necessary, but that's not enough because the figure of a teacher or someone who is practicing with you, they're it's an outer form, something external. But psychological mechanism works like that. If something external becomes really internal, really becomes part of my internal world, then only it works in a natural way. It's from psychological perspective, yeah. So did you get this idea? Do you have questions? You can interrupt me, actually. It's not necessary to wait till the end. Especially, I know that some of you have to leave earlier. So if you want, you can ask something now. So no questions. I can go further. Okay. So this part, yeah. First we imitate, then kind of these principles, yeah, that there is in Aikido. It's like timing, distance, and presence. But as I know, usually we use another word that combine all these three words together, if I may say like that. It's like Maai, yeah, because it's philosophical principle. And for example, in Russian language, we have different words for this understanding of space, of distance, and time. So you see, in English also there is space, there is a distance, there is a time, and these three different words. Yeah, but in Japanese there is one word that can unify all these three things. It's like Maai, and this Maai is really important when we kind of trying to do technique. And the philosophy of Aikido teach us not to do it from the force. We have to feel, yeah, we have to be in the moment, and we have to do everything on time. It's more it's not only about physiological, yeah, distance or physiological or psychological sorry, not physiological, so I'm using another word. It's like physical, sorry. It's not only about physical distance, yeah. It's about psychological distance also, yeah. So it's not literally how close I am in the space, but how I'm close and keep the distance with my mind. Yeah, so it's kind of really important, and Aikido actually teach us a lot. Yeah, this is any martial arts, I believe, teach, because this, as I mentioned before, very universal. Yeah, principles. And after we explain about technique, after person, yeah, kind of imitate, we have to explain our students also about these principles. Because there is Maai, and this is very Aikido terms, yeah. Irimi, Tenkan, it's what works when we do techniques. Zanshin, I can mentioned before, yeah, this is what this old cat was trying to tell these cats were not able to catch the rat, that you have to be always in this state of awareness, yeah, that we call Zanshin. But we have to follow all these principles to be honest, to be really good masters, and to use our mysterious technique. No, I'm just joking, but you understand, yeah, this things. And it's like a next level when our students just imitate first. They just trying to increase their physical, sometimes literally strength, ability. It's really important also, it's a psychological mechanism. Not everyone understand the image of a body. Sometimes people don't pay attention on the body. People who practice any body oriented things like, I don't know, dance, martial arts, sport, we kind of more aware of our body. We can notice something. We have this image of our body. But I know many people, for example, who works at the university, they kind of more, in a scientific way. So they do more things with their mind. They don't understand their body so cool as we are. And sometimes they have a problem. So they can have some really physical problem, and they don't pay attention because they don't know what is in pain. But body shows us usually what is not okay if we have some pain. Yeah, it's literally. So this is the easiest way, to be honest, through martial arts to learn something. This is the easiest way, because if you kind of stay not kind of in a proper way, like we don't keep this Maai, we can literally kind of be traumatized, yeah, by another partner. It's not always with intention, because Aikido forbids us, yeah, to use the force, the strength. But anyway, sometimes people do it unconsciously, and then I can be traumatized. So that is why I really can, in a fast way, understand, okay, I have to keep distance. And if I can understand the principle that physically I have to always kind of follow this principle of Maai, because I was kind of beaten into my nose, I don't know, into my face. And if I understand the principle, I can bring it to outer world, to the life. So I can keep the same distance, safe distance, if I communicate with someone, if I'm in conflict situation, and etc. So this is really kind of difficult thing, I think, because sometimes, as I know and as I can hear from other people who practice Aikido all over the world, that sometimes we stay on this first level of this cat that has a lot of strengths and technique, but don't go further. But it's really difficult, yeah. So okay, I was telling about Maai already. And Aikido, I mentioned this before, and to my opinion, is really important. Aikido, actually, this is a really cultural practice, yeah. And we can't just take, for example, these techniques and just bring these techniques to any other country without understanding the etiquette, without understanding the philosophy, without understanding all these terms that I mentioned about. Because this actually since what Aikido make Aikido, yeah. Because in other way, it can be any sport, it can be different martial arts. Probably yeah, that in Soviet Union, yeah, in 20th century, in the middle of the 20th century, sorry, it was invented like a style, like a wrestling style that we call sambo. I don't know, have you heard this kind of word, sambo? If to give direct translation from Russian into English, that sounds like self-defense without weapon. Self-defense without weapon. This is really effective. It's really effective self-defense system, but it based on different styles. They used also judo, I know, because Russia had a strong relationship with Japan and at the beginning of 20th century. And that is why many Japanese schools, I mean, martial arts schools, they kind of were in Russia. And but they were a little bit transforming into a little bit different, yeah, styles of wrestling, if I may say like that. But Aikido was invented in Japan, so we can't, yeah, just. I mean, if we do something, it's already. Not Aikido yet. I don't know how to explain different, like a pure Aikido. It's a little bit our understanding and our interpretation of Aikido. And I have read some scientific papers. I was trying to find some actually papers about this research. how this cultural component can be kept, yeah, in Aikido. Actually, it can be kept because the idea is really good idea of Morihei Ueshiba, that he didn't keep this martial arts school like a, like a secret. He was trying to send his pupils, direct pupils, all over the world, but they took kind of understanding of Aikido from him. Yeah, so that is why they were able to kind of bring this small part of this cultural theme from Japan to different parts of the world. Yeah, and that is why, for example, when we meet all over the world, it's like, the language of Aikido is universal, yeah, in that sense. So we don't have to speak the same language, but with the body language, with the technique, yeah, with all the things, with rituals, we do the same. It's literally like language, but with our kind of, body and what we kind of doing there. But what I have read is there are also other papers, like, for example, just a couple of years ago, they did some research in Russia, but that was not about Aikido, that was about karate, judo, and kendo. So they were kind of studying these martial arts. And the main problem that in Russia, for example, these schools, they are more about, they are highlighting more physiology or pedagogy. Yeah, do you know this word? Sorry, pedagogy, pedagogica, or pedagogy, yeah. So when they kind of try to explain these styles of martial arts, they more highlight the literally physiology, anatomy, strengths, yeah, kind of body understanding, awareness, and they are highlighting how this teaching process should be. So only about teaching and physiology, but not kind of, they are not concentrated on spiritual part. So it's that is why this component becomes like more in that sense, like Russian, for example, karate, or Russian kendo. It's very funny if to talk not only about martial arts. I'm a psychologist, yeah, and that probably this name you have heard, Sigmund Freud, yeah. So he's the father of psychoanalysis. He's very famous researcher, philosopher, psychologist, psychoanalytics, but. He was originally from Austria, yeah. And now there is in the world kind of joke between health professionals. So now people are joking that there is kind of classical psychoanalysis, but there is Russian psychoanalysis, there is Kyogi psychoanalysis, there is Chinese psychoanalysis, and etc. So the same thing sometimes, I believe, happens with Aikido, but it depends, of course, on the person who teaches. So many kind of responsibilities teachers of Aikido have. I mean, any teachers actually have, not only Aikido teachers, yeah. Because actually sometimes it's not really easy to teach also. But anyway, if some senseis, they try also, yeah, to show and literally explain this Japanese part, cultural part, the etiquette, the hierarchy, yeah, the attitude, etc. These things become really easier. And this I really like about Aikido, because I understand, sorry, not at this, I visited many kind of dojos in the world, and most of them, of course, they have their own style. Yeah, it's like our own writings. But anyway, they kind of can keep the idea of Aikido itself. So they try to explain, yeah, all this ethical part also, this cultural part also. And this is like a mechanism, yeah, how can we do in Aikido, or when we learning something, what we do, just as I mentioned before, yeah, we imitation, then we understand, and then we can embody, yeah, these principles. But sometimes we kind of limited with many things. I can't tell you what actually can influence on that. It can be psychological, so physiological, but sometimes we don't achieve this part of understanding. Just we stop, we can stop only on this imitation. That's not kind of bad by itself. Yeah, as you know, it's like it's a process of identification. So this mechanism, if to come back to Jacques Lacan or to psychology, our understanding of ourselves and how we shape the image of ourselves continues all life. Not like when I was small and I saw these adult people who kind of helped me to form, yeah, my image. No, that's kind of process that continues all life. Everything is changing. But in that sense, I don't know, so mysterious technique of a cat, it's not to be limited on this imitation. This what old cat in the story taught us, yeah. You have to go beyond, yeah, this imitation. So you kind of have to understand these principles. And if you practice not only in dojo, but if you're trying to understand the principles and trying to transfer them into external world, it's become really part of you, but not just something like you wear some uniform, you just and wearing it for some time, then you take off and no, you are not Aikido master anymore. So, of course, it's a choice of a person, but I don't know, for me, it's really important if to achieve some meaning, to understand something, you just have to go beyond the imitation. For me, it's really difficult. I practice Aikido for 20 years, more than 20 years, but I still, I believe like this first cat who has some strengths. But anyway, I feel now that I'm losing my strengths also because I have some physical, limitation also due to age. I become more rigid. Okay, so I will turn off my PowerPoint presentation, but if you kind of want to come back, just let me know. Oh, and your questions, comments, or I don't know, anything you want to do in the space, in this virtual dojo, virtual
right.
dojo.
I have a question. In your research, that you were doing of other styles, karate is also a general term of
um,
that that style, that form. Aikido is actually a general term because there are
yeah,
specific styles of
both styles, yeah,
Aikido,
true.
like there's Morihei Saito. Saito Sensei teaches Takemusu Aiki, which is Aikido, or there might be somebody really hard, like a guy named Gozo Shioda. Gozo
Yes, yes,
Shioda is like a
yes.
guy who's really old school, but his Aikido is very hard. It's
Strict,
called
yeah.
Yoshinkan. It's called Yoshinkan Aikido, and so they're kind of like general. The more you get involved and the more you see their broad, they have some, like you said, there's some interpretation. But I think one joining factor in all of them is this part of the etiquette that you talked about, which is that they have some basic thing which brings them to a spiritual level. And so in karate, I know, like when people say karate, it's a general term and stuff, but I myself, I practice JK karate, the Japan Karate Association. And the JK karate has that element. And that's why coming and seeing you practice, I realized that there was that element. It's almost like church. there's this kind of
Yeah.
thing where you have this spiritual element in it. My style of karate, Shotokan, which I practiced, JK style Shotokan, they're teaching this thing which is a dojo kun, and the dojo kun is an important piece, which is five elements. That concept is seek perfection of character, be faithful, endeavor, respect others, and refrain from violent behavior. And those things are like in the beginning of class we say it, or the end of class we say it, and then this is our idea. This is what we try to fulfill. Yeah, there are many people who are only interested in some physical thing, and they want to do the martial and no art part.
Yeah,
But
that's
there was
true.
so I think this idea of coming, this culmination, that with that, and it took some people in history to have this forethought where they thought we need to preserve this one thing and we need to make it universal. So I know from my sensei and the years that I spent with him, and he grew up after World War II. He grew up at that time and stuff in Niigata, and his family survived all of this suffering and things that they went through, starvation, and how they survived. And he told me that their ideology extended into everything, but it was bridged. It was after this. There was like uh, pre World War II and post World War II. Post World War II, in order to survive this time and to preserve these ancient arts that they had, right? 1,500 years old, 2,000 years old arts. In order to preserve them, they needed to change this mentality because it wouldn't be accepted in the new world. And they created organizations, and these groups got together, and they had their own squabblings and their own problems and stuff, but they were able to preserve this mentality. And so when we say like uh, Japanese arts, we have to say traditional
Yeah,
Japanese
yes.
martial arts,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
when you say like traditional Japanese martial arts, they speak exclusively to these martial arts that try to preserve their not only their martial parts of it and their style, their flavor, but also the spiritual concept behind it, which is like do no harm, and then if it comes to you, So your concept of the cat, it's interesting. The cat is also it's a Zen story,
Yes,
There are
yes,
so
yes.
many Zen stories, right? These Zen stories, of course, have this idea they're trying to teach you what this ideology is, what we're trying to strive to and stuff. And it's a wonderful Zen story, but
Yes,
there are many.
there are
I,
many.
I
Yeah,
know
that's
you
true.
like the one with the cat and stuff. Neko-chan, it's cute.
Yeah, yeah, it's
But
really cool. I
yeah,
also like
that
it. Mhm.
that story has the elements of pushing to this thing. So I learned that same story in a different way, and we call it Mizu no Kokoro. And
Mhm.
Mizu no Kokoro it's a concept to have this mentality which has elements of Mushin in it, right? To have this stability of mind and presence where it's even and not to be clouded by judgment. And so those things where you have these pieces that add to it have this reflection, right? Because this disturbing, if you disturb, so mizu no kokoro is the mind like water, right? But
Yeah.
water is also, if calm water is also a mirror, right? It's also your reflection.
Yes, it's
And it
metaphorical.
has,
Yes, true.
right, metaphorically, so this image, this picture carries more ideology in it because you formulate this picture in your head, something that's so serene, the surface of water. But if the surface of the water is struck by a pebble, it becomes distorted, and you get these waves.
Yes.
You get these
Yeah.
waves, right? And so is the cat. The cat who says, "Oh, my family did this," and they're trying to do this. It's because this distortion of what their image is, and so they become distorted, or so the other ones. And that idea of mizo no kokoro is the need to make calm the mind of the surface of the water, but it also is for your opponent, your response. So some of the old temple teachings, right? Like when I was a kid growing up, they had Ikkyu-san. I don't know if you know that story, you know? So Ikkyu-san was this boy, and I'll send it to you. And it was one of the first like anime things that came out from Japan. And we used to get it in the States, but it was only one night a week that they would play it. And it was on the UFX channel. You had to like try to get this channel and stuff, but it was really cool and stuff. And so the thing about Ikkyu-san, right, is that he stops for a moment and he thinks and he rubs his head, you know, when he thinks. And the ability, one of the things that the monk practice is when they're asked a question, instantaneous response, the flow. And that's that calmness of water gives the appropriate and exact response. So neither too much or neither too little. But in order to do that, you have to have this calmness, this motion, in order to be able to respond to somebody. Because if you're thinking, and you heard so many movies, oh, you have too many mind. You know what I mean? It's true. People are thinking, I'll do this and I'll do that. And you know what I mean? And something happens and then they're caught off guard, you know? And then
yes, true.
That's that thing and stuff. I had one time only, this only happened once in my life, you know, I had the chance to stand before my sensei, you know, in sparring, right? And it was dojo sparring, right? We was predetermined stuff. And we looked at each other, and the moment that I blinked, his fist was on my throat. Just like that, like in the flash, I opened my eyes and it was over. But he can do that. He waited and waited and waited and just calm, really know this, nothing like that. Just when this moment, that was the moment that he struck this. And this is the point when it's explained in the story. There was a writer, Nishiyama Sensei. Nishiyama wrote a book, Karate Do, and there was two books that we had, Karate Do Kyohan and Karate Do. And Karate Do Kyohan was an older book which had the ideologies in the beginning, Mizu no Kokoro, and the different stories. And later, the other guy, Nishiyama, who's very popular within the JK and stuff, controlled all the West Coast and stuff in competitions and did a bunch of stuff. But anyway, in his books, it's a little different, some of the things that they address, and not so much on this point, you know what I mean, of the ideology. So the Karate Do Kyohan is one of the old books that have a lot of the theories in it. And when you talk about like Maai, that's another thing and stuff. And so we break down Maai into different variations of your ability to respond. So there's Gono Sen, which is block, strike, right? Gono Sen. And then there's Sen no Sen, which is they attack the same time I'm attacking. And then there's Zen Sen no Sen. Zen Sen no Sen is without. Zen, like Zen means without. Zen Sen no Sen means without this. You feel this person's intention from inside. That's your thing, this harmony. And then you deliver this blow and stop this. That's
thanks. Actually, you gave me one idea, of answering on your first sentence about research. This was not my research. I just have read it on internet. I just found it yesterday. They didn't put a kind of style. I think they just did it in a kind of more general way. Yeah, but I didn't read it actually like very attentive. But what actually you are trying to, I mean, what you are kind of describing is really good. I don't know, people who will be watching us later on YouTube or who watch us now, it's like podcast, who are here with us now. So you see, it's like you're describing the terms, the Japanese terms, but you can read, or not read, sorry, it's my English today is really kind of weird. But you learned karate And this is the same concept. So this kind of really kind of what I'm trying to
Traditional.
tell. Yeah, that's what I'm trying
Mhm.
to tell, and why I actually decided to do this lecture. This time, not my first lecture, but I wanted to highlight also this part, yeah, of
Mhm.
martial arts. So it's very cultural thing. Yes, yes,
There's
and you're lucky with your sensei because he
yeah,
was the
I was
true.
blessed. I always say definitely. And I think the term sensei is also a general term, because it's sensei. It could be sensei. It could be a school teacher. It could
Yes,
be it could be a martial arts instructor. He could be someone who's teaching you a craft. And you can call it sensei. But uh, when I refer to my sensei, it's like this idea of do, which continues on, but they say shihan. And a shihan is this
yes,
idea that this person knows their responsibility. They understand that they're in a position where they help you, guide you to this way. You know, it's their
yes, yes.
role to do this. And so
No.
one time we met some other senseis, uh, and they said, my sensei, he's not sensei, he's shihan, you know, this way. He's the one teaching you to go your life to this way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all of that after World War II is so important. So through Ikebana, or you know, there's some families. I think they're called the Owada family. They teach
Mm-hmm.
etiquette, but in
Yeah,
each of those, so
etiquette.
I I learned from people who doing art and carpentry and calligraphy, all have the same this element. It's almost like church. You feel like this.
Yes.
I'm going to church.
Actually, yeah, yes. Idea of Ueshiba, I have to also tell about this. He was in Shinto, and he invented the system in a very Shinto, yeah, religious way. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there are some guys, maybe they have some questions also.
Yeah.
Hayata-san, you were kind of turning on your camera. You wanted to ask something. Girls? Yes, just maybe we can give them also space, because there are some questions, I believe, especially if you are not related to psychology. Maybe I
Mhm.
can also explain some, because we are not always kind of explaining the psychological, yeah, things. Of course, spiritual is really important. I can, in that sense, always think that not everyone, yeah, also able to kind of to show, yeah, the spiritual part. It's also very responsible, as you say. Okay, guys, some questions also. Course, most of us are practitioners, except one lady only now here. But as she mentioned before, she's kind of practitioner, but in a theoretical way. But anyway, the principles are universal. Yeah, so it will be interesting yet to listen your questions or some also comments. When I kind of was planning this lecture, I was kind of telling my colleague, she actually was my teacher at the university, and I was telling, okay, I invited guys, but seems everyone who understands the idea will come. So no one who kind of doesn't understand and not related to martial arts and never interested in such lectures. And I was telling her maybe kind of it will be some people who live in Japan. And she was telling me, yeah, it's really interesting, because when you live, for example, in Japan, you just live there, but maybe you don't consider these principles like we consider, because we are foreigners in that sense, and we have to learn, yeah, we have to understand, we have to explain the concept. So what usually mind do, yeah? So it's like a knowledge. Okay, well, how does it work? What works here? So it's not about feelings like Aikido teach us that we have to feel, be in the process, and all this concept. But to my opinion, of course, mind is also important. It's not so easy to, understand something without your intellectual abilities. But if you don't have much intellectual abilities, of course, you kind of will be maybe more kind of faster in learning. I don't know. You just repeat and you just do. You just kind of follow instincts. I don't know. I mean, sorry, my camera. More like intellectual ability. I mean, the habit to think a lot. That's what I mean. Okay, guys, we want to listen to you too. If you not a question, you just can comment. Yeah, just you have your own also experience of your practice. Maybe you can share, by the way, because Jonathan was telling about his experience with karate and his amazing teacher. In that sense, I kind of really have a feeling, that I know your teacher and he's really kind of cool master. So the way he kind of teaching you, yes, I can feel, like a spirit through you, even telling the stories about him. So it's also kind of really important, and you are lucky in that sense. That there is kind of expression that when the student or pupil kind of is ready, then teacher comes. But there is also second part of this phrase. When the student or pupil kind of is ready, then the teacher is leaving. So in that sense, it's like next level, yeah, of this true mastery, like an old cat who doesn't move in this village, and every rat we can't see even kind of thousands of miles from this cat. No, I'm just joking. But guys, yeah, please. Yes.
Thank you so much for an amazing story. Yeah, so I mean, how to correctly teach our student to reach this kind of level or to reach this kind of like sensitivity? Do you have any advice, maybe?
That kind of the best way the best way how we can understand something is really start to teach. So it's really kind of start practice. Well, I believe you know about these things. Yeah, of course, if it's Aikido, to my opinion, we should kind of tell not only about physical part, but also about spiritual part, philosophical part, cultural part, about etiquette. This all kind of is really important. But you have your own individuality and unique features. So, for example, you can't teach like I do because I have my own unique features. And what, to my opinion, is really kind of cool thing when you understand your unique features, and when you teach, you really understand what you are trying to give the message to your student. So if you really understand, not like, sometimes I shared with you, this story. Sometimes I see some practitioners from other countries, and just a very simple situation, that we have anatomy, anatomical features are really different. I mean, here, okay, we are on the screen. We can't see everyone, kind of full body and etc. But anyway, we see even that we are different, and some people, they're more flexible. Some people, they're more rigid. Some people are more stronger. Some people really can feel their body. Some people cannot feel their body. Some people have some traumas and etc. And to teach martial arts, it's not only about philosophy. It's literally kind of the first stage, it's imitation. We also have to understand physiology, because it can be really harmful for another person if I do something, and if I kind of make some, I don't know, technique like Nikyo, and if I will do it like, for example, Ueshiba did when he just started to do some martial arts, or when he studied Daitoryu. So, that way. And if person kind of just first day in my dojo, I can literally break something. If even I don't have intention, because everyone also, has his own or her own level of sensitivity. For example, if I'm too sensitive, of course I can't do it, but not everyone has such type of nervous system, such type of sensitivity. Some people really kind of do technique and they don't feel another person. So, of course, I believe that some physiology, anatomy will be really useful. Even in this paper I was reading about that, they kind of make the critics about this part of karate when they teach in Russia, it's only about physiology. But anyway, I think it's also kind of important because, for example, girls, women have different, how to say, so our hara, our gravity center, is a little bit higher than a gravity center of a man. So that is why physiologically, when we do technique, we have to anyway sit down, because especially if I do a technique with men, and it's not like about gender roles and etc. So it's literally physiology, because my center of gravity, it doesn't depend on my height. It's physiologically upper than the center of gravity of man. So that is why for Aikido is really useful to keep the center down. For everyone. You know that in Hombo, they train like that. Another thing, it's like what I'm trying to tell. I really tell, that's kind of also my style, because I teach at the university. Sorry, I do psychotherapy. I used to talk, maybe today my English is not so good, especially I was trying to tell this really cool story that has a lot of, this kind of metaphorical phrases. But anyway, English is my not native, you understand, that's since, of course, if I speak
Your
Russian.
English is great.
Yes,
Don't worry about it. It's okay.
Arigato. But if for example, I would tell the same thing in Russian, I would use completely different, kind of words. But what I'm trying to tell, I'm talking, I'm explaining, I'm speaking, and that is why when I'm teaching, I'm really telling. Okay, guys, you see, you feel. So I'm telling. But I know that not everyone does like that. For example, it's also Japanese style. It's a cultural style. Most of the
Right.
shihans, they do it like, in a silent way. Just they kind of do a technique, and you have to understand yourself what I meant. Sometimes I can do it, but not with every student, because not everyone can understand.
Usually, like, you're not saying anything. Don't say anything. Just
just do.
You know what I mean? Height, just go do it.
That is why that all these European seminars are really popular with foreigners, and people are trying to attend, for example, the seminars of Hombu Dojo Shihans when they're abroad, because they kind of have to share the knowledge more there. Or, for example, if teachers from Europe, like probably this famous teachers, and say, I know him personally, I attended his seminar, like Christian Tissier. He's really good in explanation. So so on his seminars, when he teaches, he explains, he talks, and you understand kind of everything. Yes, for example, I do like that. But if it's not your style, you don't have to repeat like me. So what I'm trying to tell, so to teach, you have to really understand what you want to show, what you want to share, what the message you want to give, and you have to rely only on your unique features. So if you can't talk, you don't have to talk. You just can show the way you can do it like in your everyday life, because students, they copy you. And what I really sometimes can hear from my students also, okay, I'm not a kind of true master, and I kind of course just simple human with a limitation, and I can't be always, full of attention. I can be tired and etc. And when I'm outside of dojo, I'm trying to use these principles. But I can't do it 24 hours per day. So I'm telling you, I think I'm this first cat with with a kind of legacy of a family of some. My parents were not samurais, but anyway, so this first cat, yeah. But what is really cool when the person who really kind of good at teaching and when he uses the same principles in life, then you don't have this dissociation when something is happening. It's like, oh, sometimes I can hear those stories. Oh, I'm so disappointed in my sensei because he was teaching us in this way. He was telling true Buddha, this kind of way of love and etc. But he kind of outside of dojo, he kind of uses all his force and etc. So it's like dissociation and person really disappointed, and he thinks, then so if it's like really important for me, so what then? So can I continue Aikido? So he was cheating me. So, and something can happen with you. I mean, some doubts, yeah, in your mind. But it doesn't have to be like that. So if you understand the principles, okay, it's cool when your teacher is true master, like Jonathan, you told about your sensei. I believe he was like that, definitely. But if even your teacher is not like that, it's okay. He just has to teach good. So his idea, he has to teach. In dojo, okay, really good if he can do it like true senseis, like you were telling, yeah, about sensei that they use it in everyday life. But that's not always like that. And that is why if we accept this limitation that I can't be like so this old cat level, but I can do what I can do. And in that sense, I'm honest. And to my opinion, you should be really honest with your students. And if you're honest, they accept these things easily. Then when you are trying to be like someone also, but not teaching your kind of own way. Because if even Aikido is a universal thing, but everyone has unique features also. So it's there are, of course, universal principles, but there are something that we have in our own psychology, personality, physiology, also some individuality, and we are in that sense really different and unique. I hope I help you somehow to answer.
Yeah, more than.
Okay, thanks. Some other questions or comments? You know that to be a teacher, especially if you're a teacher of martial arts, is more responsible than to be a teacher of the at the university. For example, at the university, I don't have to show my students what kind of a person I am in life. I just have to really tell them about psychology, yeah, in that sense. But to be honest, in martial arts, sensei, teachers, they become part of our lives. So that is why, of course, ideally, we have to correspond the principles that we use in dojo to the principles that we use in life. Yeah, but that's very rare. So I mean, it's really rare. So when student is ready, teacher comes. When student is ready, teacher leaves. There are not so many people today. Actually, I like when there are not a huge amount of people. But sometimes I really want to know, to kind of share the ideas of Aikido that more people know about martial arts. Because nowadays I see that martial arts, it's not pure experiment, but anyway, I see that people more, they do in mixed martial arts, for example, but traditional one is not so popular. Maybe Taekwondo, but I believe because Taekwondo is Olympic one. I mean, it's also about competition, yeah. But Taekwondo is really popular all over the world. Karate was, I believe, Olympic, yeah, but they now changed
Yeah.
their mind.
Mhm.
So they decided to again, yeah, to,
Remember, like the late 80s, I think they were trying to push this Olympic agenda, and then they stopped it. It was just, there's some things that you can't take it to that level. You know what I mean? There's some things, the Olympics is a certain way. Like I guess Taekwondo is a good example. If you looked at Taekwondo, you know, 1980, 1965, it looked very different than Taekwondo that you see today. It's a lot of martial arts look very different, and they change, they evolve. But like you said, I think your allure to Aikido is that spiritualism, that feeling of some transcendence from one level to another, and that's something that I was definitely drawn into. And I think people that really are in love with Japanese traditional martial arts, they value those things, and they could see the value in the other aspects of your life, raising your children, doing your work on your job, or just moving through the street, and I think that's a fascinating thing. So,
yes, true. Yeah,
you
but
mentioned, what was it? This joining, like your irimi, so hara, using your hara, chi,
yeah,
hara, right? Hara, we call hara, and your hara is this part of this is where your energy exists, right? This chi, all
yes,
of it, whatever you want to call it, ki, chi, or
yeah.
hara, your hara, right? And that is there a element or a kata or practice in Aikido that helps to unify that hara, that ki?
Yes, there are many exercises, and probably you remember when you were in our class also, when we usually kind of finishing the training and starting the training, we sitting in Seiza. So this Mukso silent meditation helps us with the breathing to concentrate on different parts of the body, to free our mind, and also to realize the center. So when we do
Mm,
warming up, I trying to kind of more highlight this part, hip, yeah, center of gravity. And when we ending, if what I started to tell, if you remember, we were sitting in Seiza and doing Suwariwadza Kokyuho. This is actually
Kokyo.
about hara,
Right, this energy hara.
kokyu, breathing,
Mhm.
connection. So all these things. And there are different, kind of types of meditation, different types of breathing. I know in Aikido that also kind of can highlighting, this idea of center of gravity. But physiologically, actually, all our movements goes from gravity center. And I really like, English word for this part of the body, gravity center, because in Russian, we say центр тяжести. So it's like more center of heaviness. It's a little bit
Ah,
different idea, but gravity
mm,
center is really correct
mm,
kind of
mm,
word for this part of the body. So I can feel my body and I'm kind of moving from this part of the body.
right.
So yes, there are many exercises. But why I like also karate, I didn't practice, but my older brother practiced also karate. He showed me some movement. When sometimes when I do myself, just like Mawashi Giri, Maai Giri, this is only strike I know, but these strikes really help to feel the gravity center hip. So literally my center works much better than if I do only just typical thing that we do in Aikido, because Aikido most of the training we do with hands, yeah. With
Right. Mhm.
we sometimes do kicking, but it's very, very rare. It's not really common
Mm,
in Aikido. So karate movement really help to feel center of gravity, hips.
In the two traditional forms of, karate, there are only really two. So many things branch off from them, but I mean, going back in history, and I learned this too from my my teachers, that out of Okinawa there was Naha and Shuri, and these two groups later became Shotokan and Goju. There's Okinawa and Goju. There's Japanese Goju, and but they're branched from this beginning, and in those both arts they contain, there's one form in each art that practices this, what they call the conquest of mind, body, and your spirit, right? The joint, this triangle is this conquest. So this person, like you did mention before and stuff about being the same person or conquering yourself more. It's also a Zen teaching, and to conquer yourself is worth conquering 1,000 individuals, right? And then that's this mastery is not you're fighting this person, but fighting yourself, and that bringing that. But these katas, like, so in Goju, it's Sanchin, the third kata, which means conquest of mind, body, and spirit. In Shotokan later, which is after Shurite, we came, and it's a Hangetsu. Hangetsu is another form. Those two forms, when you practice them, the idea is trying to unify those things together, mind, body, and spirit. So heavy breathing,
Yes.
really stiff stances, and just this energy, like
It's
your heart all the
really,
time.
yes, it's really important scene in martial arts, yeah, this meditation. Many years ago, I had a student, she was my diploma student, like I was supervising her diploma thesis. She was professional sport person. This is still my favorite research in sports psychology. She was professional swimmer. And what we did, actually, we compared the rituals that people do in professional sport with martial artists.
Yeah.
With
Mhm.
Aikido, I remember karate, so some traditional, martial arts we kind of took. So people who are in professional sports, they have many rituals when they have competition, because they're trying to reduce their level of anxiety with rituals. And I don't know, you know these things or not, but these rituals and physical activity, actually, it helps us to reduce the level of anxiety. So this is how it works. As psychotherapist, usually, for example, I also recommend my patients who suffer sometimes from withdrawal syndrome, because the level of anxiety too high, so they should do some physical activity. But
Yes.
what I'm trying to tell, that in sport they have a lot of rituals. But when we were asking martial artists, actually we have some rituals, some superstitions, but very few comparing to sport. Superstitions is also about reducing the level of anxiety. It's psychological mechanism that helps us to reduce the level of anxiety. Like if I see black cat, I'm kind of have to do like this. So, and it is kind of reduced. Yeah, it's like a ritual, and okay, I feel calm and nothing wrong will happen with me. And that was really interesting and amazing. And why so? Yeah, because in sport, they don't have this ritualistic system. And that is why competition is really stressful for them, and they use this psychological mechanism to reduce the anxiety. But what martial art, the system of any martial arts does, we have this ritual system by itself. It's decreasing, the level of anxiety. All these rituals, this etiquette is really important, because when we even do a technique, it's like an agreement. We say like so it's like we kind of agree, to do a technique and not to bring a harm. And in that sense, I can feel a little bit safe. So it's forbidden. I know that it's forbidden. So this is sometimes it's very funny when I know that it's forbidden and someone is using force and kind of trying to beat me. So it's very unexpected. But anyway, so what I'm trying to tell, it's like you have to be always ready, in martial arts. But it's safe by itself. But in sport, you know that they don't do it. So if I do fight, like if I'm boxing, of course, it's like some definite strikes. But anyway, I don't tell you kind of about my intention. So it's anyway, we have agreement, but I can't do it. But no, now I think that there are some rules actually. But okay, street fighting or some other fighting that happens outside of dojo, there are no rules there.
Right.
So in that sense, it's brilliant safe. No one will follow rituals if even you are a master and have black belt in any martial art. So that is why the system of martial arts is really kind of helping also to reduce the level of anxiety. It's very useful for people who suffer from obsessive compulsive, disorders.
I think spiritually, you could look up my sensei. He's still teaching. He's about 80,
He's still
83 now, I
teaching.
think.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. His name is Shu Takahashi. And Shu Takahashi, and he's from Brooklyn, New York, and he's now the chief instructor of the entire East Coast. And I think he's also special envoy to a couple of other countries. And so he's been around for a long time. But this I think this relationship too between like you said, people who have problems, and it was like people had problems who were at this dojo. You know what I mean? It wasn't for people that like the sport person and they're so popular or something. It's kind of different. We had two people that came to our dojo. They were brothers. They were hooked on heroin, and they were in a bad way, But as long as they came, they were able to have some way, some avenue to go, and they stayed for a while, but ultimately they left. Don't know what happened to them, but after a couple of years, you could see a change in them, some development mentality, some self-respect. You know what I mean? And I think that spoke to me something huge about this thing and about my teacher in particular, because I knew many other martial arts teachers and they don't have that
Yeah,
thing,
that's true.
some
Yes.
care, some love, just, you know what I mean? And it's about compassion, humanity. I think that's something else too. When you speaking of spiritual, this feeling, it encompasses those things about being a human being to one another and having that compassion for someone. There's maybe a lot of it gone out of the world today. There's so many videos that you see, and like you were saying about these matches, and they have rules. Some children slapping this other kid while they're standing there. It's so sad, right?
Yes,
You've
yes,
seen that,
yes,
right,
yes.
Ida? And it's crazy because it's so frequent, and you really you mentioned your Takaki Sensei had said about this dough is endless, right?
Yeah.
It's really this mentality. It's true. You can finish a technique, but it's never done. This awareness has to
Yes.
be endless. It's always, and again, the similarities between traditional martial arts, traditional Japanese arts, and other things, they're different. They're different. And you can compare Aikido to Shotokan 1-to-1. Their cue system, the way that they developed, the mental
Yes.
awareness, the way that they
Yes,
developed.
of course.
It was done before. There are studies and stuff where they compared the two and stuff. But I remember meeting Sensei Nishiyama. He was probably, I'm going to say 76 when I met him, And what he said, one day we were in this auditorium. It was a seminar, summer camp, and he came to the summer camp and stuff. I think I was like 16 or something, And but I'll never forget it. And he was like, your life, your eyes are your hara. And even your drinking, your head is here, but your hara leads you home. And I was like, wow, man, it's just amazing. And
Yes.
and with that energy, though, with that energy of this thing, he did this breaking demonstration, and he took a brick and he broke this brick, and I was like, you know, and he did it like so naturally, and it just, and his hands, you looked at his hands, they didn't look like so crazy and stuff. And You know, I went home and I broke 2 bricks myself, man, and it was something. Yeah, I was like that energy, that
yeah,
thing to
that's
capture that,
energy.
you know. But at the
That's
same
true.
time, good person, you know, smile, good energy, good energy.
Yes, yeah, that's I also really like in all these martial artists like masters, because true master can control his aggression, because everyone has aggression, of course. It helps us to
Yeah.
it helps us to defend ourselves. We need anger, yeah.
I
But
really love the fact that you have lectures doing this because there is this connection on multiple levels. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Where it starts out, but there are things that it's the end of those things. You know what I mean? And you can bring it back even through sports where they're teaching. It depends on who's your teacher in sports. Most people they're learning some physicalities and stuff, and they don't learn the other part. But there are
there are,
these
yes,
sportsmen out there
yes.
who do have that connection and understand to transcend not only this but your whole life. Your whole life it can change. You know,
Yes,
and
yes, true, true.
that's really cool. That's really
Yeah,
cool. I
thanks,
think that's
thanks. Okay, guys, sorry, I don't want you to keep really long. And Jonathan was telling really kind of like finishing, closing words. Yeah, it's really
yeah,
like
your stuff is good.
summarizing. Yes,
Am I going to be
summarizing.
able to download your presentation? Because
Yes, yes, I
I'm
will
not
share
sure.
with you. Yeah, I will
Yes.
share the. Actually,
Fantastic.
I will get the download the video on YouTube. I also share the link on our video,
Okay.
and I will share the presentation. If anyone needs, also let me know. But guys, okay, if you want to tell something, just tell, because we are finishing now, as you can understand. Thank you. It was really kind of great, cool experience. I felt a lot of like Ueshiba was telling, like light key, you know, proper key, good key. It's like it's literally like
Mm,
an energy.
good.
So yeah, thank you. It was really kind of
ありがとう
useful,
ござい
helpful
ま
for me.
す。
Yeah.
うん、
Arigatou gozaimashita. Guys,
はい、あってさん。Thank you. うんはいはい。
Thank you so much for amazing presentation. Thank you so much for organize and and collect this data. I'm sure you you spend a lot of time. Thank you so much. And also for sharing with us. Thank you.
yeah, thanks.
Yes, thank you very much for a very meaningful discussion. And now I'm curious, and I'm going to read the story myself, the legend of the cat.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm curious about it. Yeah, so thank you very much about the discussion today.
Yeah, thanks. So Hayata-san. Aina also tells us thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting this discussion. Oh, I was really impressed. Yeah. And so, I just want to share, just sharing another one. And in Japanese, there's shu hali. Maybe Jonathan-san know this words, right? Shu, and maybe Avidis-san, you can use this concept to teach your student. Maybe shu is like preserved, obeying the traditions, and the beginner faithful following the teachings, form and principles exactly as they have been handled them. It's that meaning shu.
Sure.
Preserve or obey the tradition. And ha is a next level break, not just break and transcend the form. Yeah. And once the fundamentals have been fully absorbed and the practitioner begins to question, adapt, and explore the variations. This is the second level, ha. And third level, li, is transcend or go beyond. The practitioner is no longer bound by form. Techniques flows naturally and expressing the underlying the principles rather than merely reproducing or prescribed movements. That's shuhari means. That but shu. But I'm sorry. I just explained the shu how it is the first and second and third level, but it's not in the lines. That li is not li means not. I think li means not go beyond. It's like a circle, and shu it's by step shu ha ri and go back to the first stages.
Stage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
I'm sorry, my English is good.
No,
Yeah.
it's okay. Can you share? Can you text me? Yeah, how it's
Okay.
spelling? Okay, just really curious. Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
And you know that
Maybe Dina-san knows this word. Yeah.
okay, yeah, but it's about levels. But this is really good idea that when we talk about levels, it's not always like in a direct way, because sometimes we're coming back again. It's like a circle. That's true. That's kind of universal principles. Yeah. Also, when we teach anything, sometimes we can feel ourselves like a beginner, but this is really cool, you know, feeling when you accept something like you didn't know, because when you kind of trying to accept like you already know, you don't know. Yeah, you don't get something new. And you know, also in Aikido, we say that the most important kind of part of Aikido, all of them are important, I'm sure. I don't want to offend anyone, but the most important part of Aikido, it's like uke. Yeah, so the one who is pursuing a technique. So that was really kind of great, since you really helped me to do this lecture today, because you're perfect uke. So that's kind of really what I really like and appreciate and value. So I hope we can be also useful for people who will be watching us. Yes. So then time to say goodbye. Everything has a kind of anyway.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. If even the dog is out ending, but we have to
Bye.
finish our lecture. Yeah, we have to end our lecture. But the dog
Thank
without
you.
ending. Yeah. Okay. Bye. Bye.
Arigatou.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.